Emily, welcome to the Retail Whore Podcast.
Hi.
You, I just told you off camera, you've become like this internet sensation that I don't even know how I found you, to be totally honest. It was just like you just popped up and you are this breath of fresh air of F-bombs and I don't give a fucks. And I fell in love with you instantly.
Thanks. Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like it's boutique owners like find each other.
Yeah.
I think small business owners, especially women, we just like find each other. And so I think that's just what the case was.
It's amazing. Please introduce yourself to everyone and tell us a little bit of background on yourself, and then we'll jump into your business.
My name is Emily Brooker. I own Esme and Elodie. It's a women's and plus size boutique in Renton, Washington. I started this in 2017, just out of like a spare bedroom closet that I had in our home. At the time, I was a stay-at-home mom. I have 6 kids. Um, and I just wanted something else to do besides just like changing dirty fucking diapers and cooking meals. I always like wanted something creative and something that gave me like adult problems. Um, and then 6 years ago, I started a brick and mortar. So that gave me even more adult problems.
Yeah, I bet. Well, what did you do before? A lot of people will start a retail brand out of nowhere, but like a lot of people have had experience something in the industry.
So I like worked a lot of retail jobs like in college and in high school. And it was something that I really enjoyed. Like I worked at all the big brands. I worked at Express. I worked at Abercrombie. I worked at Hollister, and I kind of got all of that like mainstream corporate retail experience there. And then how I actually turned Esme and Elodie into something is that I started as a LuLaRoe consultant. And that's like not something I really share often just because I feel like that MLM was just like such a shit show and it burned so many people. But actually, it was a great introduction for me into the world of fashion as like an owner. And so for me, it was kind of like this great stepping stone into like a field that I didn't know much about, right? Because it's really different working as like a little cog in a corporate wheel, just as like a retail employee versus being your own business owner and being the one who calls the shots and has to do like all the management aspect. So that's how I kind of like spun that into my own thing. Like, and surprise, surprise, like I fucking got fired from LuLaRoe just because it was like a total mismatch in personality.
Okay, you have to explain that brand because I personally have not seen it or I really don't know anything about it, but I think you're the second person that I've talked to that has had this. So please explain what that is.
So LuLaRoe was this like multi-level marketing brand. And so what they were doing was they were like selling leggings and maxi skirts and
Oh, okay,
shirts
I remember.
and yeah. And so I was working as a consultant. So basically, I would like order the styles from them. And then I built my own online platform on Facebook groups to then sell to. Now, it was really easy for me to accumulate people because I was showing up as myself. But there was just like a lot of things that you just didn't have control of. Like you didn't have control of like the patterns that you were getting. And so like I would spend $500 on a style of skirt and I would get like 50 heathered gray skirts. And I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with these? Like, and so I was just selling these things at complete like wholesale cost to just get rid of them, to just get my money back. And it ended up being like a really good thing that I ended up getting fired from this company because I then had purchasing power. I then had like the autonomy to like buy my own styles. And that in itself was just like a major game changer. But that brand, it was just like a total personality incompatibility.
Yeah.
Like they are very much like Utah Christian based,
Bible Belt.
like live, laugh, love kind of shit. And that was just like not me. And it was never going to be me. So,
But what a great way. I mean, now that you say it, it's kind of like a I guess kind of a boot camp of what sizes, how to size orders. Because that's the one thing when I talk to people, like, oh, I just decided to open a women's boutique, and I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? Because I've been in retail literally 40 plus years, and I started out at like Wet Seal, and then ended up with my own stores at Fred Siegel, and then I was at Anthropologie after my stores closed thanks to the earthquake. But I learned under my mentor who taught me men's and women's sizing, taught me women's sizing, taught me how to go into showrooms and what to ask and terms, like all the shit that you when you walk in. And I always think about people just strolling into like the Dallas Market Apparel Week. And like, how do you go into like showrooms and like have no concept of like, pre-pack, all the things. And so I guess that would have been kind of a boot camp, a churchy boot camp, albeit.
you know, it was one of those things where it wasn't a good compatibility fit when it came to like work environment too, but it gave me enough confidence to be like, you want to know what? If I figured it out underneath their strict guidelines, I can figure it out under like just the realm of the world and how things work. And so for me, like I kind of have the disease of like I'll figure it out, like I I always joke that like my degree came from YouTube because that is literally how I figured out how to open a boutique. I watched and consumed so much content about how to do things that eventually I was like, I think I can figure it out. And I'm also like humble enough to ask for help when I'm like, I can't figure this out. Like, who do I have to go to? Who do I have to ask? Who do I have to talk to? And so that was super helpful. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm going to tell you too, like, I've never even gone to like a showroom or like to Magic or to like
Still,
any one of those things. I literally find brands by just placing small wholesale online orders. So like I've never even sourced brands like in person.
wow, that is even more impressive. Are you gonna go to the shows? Do you have any
You
desire?
know, well, I think this is something that like every business owner kind of struggles with, right? Like the 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 appeal of going to these shows and like looking at all these brands and the allure of it, and they make it into this like magical experience. Hands down, it comes to numbers for me.
Yeah.
Like, am I going to pay the extra $3,000 to travel, accommodations, food, Ubers, like to actually do that? Or would I rather place like 10 $300 orders and experiment and see these brands? Like, would I rather do that? Yeah, I probably would, because I can get a lot of information just based off what's the quality of their material. If I order 3 different styles, what is their stitching like? What's their finishing like? What's their fabric like? And so for me, I can't justify paying to go to those shows because I would rather experiment with it in that sort of way.
Yeah.
I also have 6 kids though, and I'm a single mom. And so a part of me too is like,
How are you? Okay, I'm gonna skip subjects now. How are you swinging this with? How old are your kids, for one?
so I have a 19-year-old. So that's an adult child, right? I have a soon to be 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, 11, 10, and 8-year-old.
Wow, you are a busy mom. So how are you able to juggle this? Because I know I'm not a mom, and I just know that, obviously this is a lot of work and you're doing it on your own. And then being a mom is a full-time job as it is.
Honestly, I think the only reason I'm able to be a single mom and do this job is because I'm my own boss. Like, I think about all the days that I have to take off because of orthodontist appointment or kid needing stitches or soccer practice or hey, I forgot my shoes. And honestly, retail is the only job that I can see myself working that gives me enough flexibility to be able to be a mom and have a job at the same time.
Wow.
Like, I could not be in a corporate job and balance motherhood because one, the cost of childcare is so expensive. And then two, the schedule and the commute would never allow it. Like I live 8 minutes from my store,
Yeah.
like I tell my kids, oh, I forgot something at the store. I'm back in 20 minutes because I run there, grab it, and come back. You know, I wouldn't have that luxury if I had another job.
No, it's true. And but is it just yourself in the store or do you have somebody else working for you?
So I have 5 employees right now, but my 5 employees, they have other jobs and other obligations and other things going on. So like one works for a daycare, another one is a therapist, another one is a really active stay-at-home mom, another girl lives in California and visits her fiance half of the month. And so I just know that if out of my 5 employees, like one of them can't cover, it comes down to me. And it's either we're open or we're closed.
Okay.
And that is kind of the sacrifice my shoppers make. But I make it very, very like obvious in my presence and in my like local community that I am a busy mom and that I will like always choose them over being open. So I don't know if you call that balance. I know that that's not great retail practices, but it's also like one of the things why I could never have like a corporate space.
Yeah.
Like I have people come in from the mall and they're like, we would love your store in the mall. And I'm like, yeah, right. I could never be open from 10 to 8 o'clock. Like I want to have dinner with my kids.
Yeah.
I want to tuck my kids in at night. Like that isn't going to happen if I'm working at the mall.
Yeah, it's the malls, like I think people think it's like this great advantage because it's constant traffic and blah blah blah. But goddamn, I mean, I was partners in a 5-store chain, and the mall store was my nightmare because Black Friday they mandate you're open and like you have to be open. You can close between 9 p.m. and midnight, but you got to be back open at midnight. And then it's like trying to schedule a day with from midnight till 9 p.m. the next night. Isn't I mean, it just I'm sure malls bring in a lot of money, but they also really like dictate how your day and how your business runs. It's kind of unfortunate, but I understand it, but it's just like, don't do it. Don't do it.
Right. Well, like one of the first things somebody told me too before opening like a retail space was they were like, you should love your landlord as much as you love your spouse.
Oh,
And I was just like, that was like an interesting concept to me because they were like, they're the person that you're going to call when something is broken, when you need something, when there's an emergency, and it's 100% true. And I totally lucked out with my space. Like my landlord is super chill, super cool. Like rent is pretty controlled, like on a schedule that is like signed out over the years. So it's not like I'm going to get my rent tripled unbeknownst to me. Like my building manager lives in the apartments above my actual retail space. So like today, I pulled up a floorboard that was like peeling and he was just like, okay, I'll be there in 15 minutes. And I have this scheduled to be fixed for next week. on a day that's convenient to me. Like in a corporate setting, that would never happen. Like in a mall, that would never happen.
That's great that you, and I love that analogy to love your landlord as much as you love your husband. Because it's, you think about it, it's like if you have a really tight connection with your landlord, obviously when you run into trouble or anything like that, they're going to be right there for you because they really care for you and the business.
Right. And my business is on this like strip of other businesses. And so I became close, obviously, with other business owners. And even just hearing the stories and the variation of their landlords versus mine, I'm like, ooh, I hit the lottery. Like, I'm super lucky.
Talk to us a little about when you went to go look for your store, when you decided you're going to take it out of the closet and you're going to do a store, like how did you go about looking and because you're in Seattle, outskirts of Seattle, correct?
Yeah. So I'm in a small suburb south of Seattle. So this is a non-traditional story, I guess. So I had my online business and I had my online business. It was thriving for about a year and a half, and then COVID hit. Um, and so all of a sudden, I have to homeschool 6 kids.
Mm.
So I end up actually closing my store for a year because I'm just like, you want to know what, guys? Like, at the same time, Facebook algorithm was changing a lot where Facebook groups weren't being prioritized to the actual members because they realized that people were using the groups for selling and not for socializing. So algorithm changed, COVID happened. I ended up closing my store for a year to homeschool my kids. Well, once I knew my kids were going back to school, I was like, I want to start working. My youngest was going to be in pre-K. I'm like, I want to get back into the work field. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So by trade, I'm a teacher. And so I was like studying to be a teacher again, get relicensed in Washington. And I just decided to like chuck my kids in the car and go to downtown Renton to try out this new coffee shop. And so we had parked. I was walking down the street and I walked past my retail space, and there was just a sign that said for lease. And I was just like, I'm going to turn that space into a store. I was just like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, that's my next move. Like, I didn't want to be a teacher, but was like going through the motions to do it because I was just like, I guess that's what I'm going to do. But like, I ended up coming home and I was like, I'm going to open a store. And my husband at the time was like, you were supposed to go get a cup of coffee with the kids. Like, what do you mean you're going to open a store? And I was like, well, this is what I'm going to do. Thanks.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So how take us to through signing your lease till, doing the purchasing for this and then your opening day. Like what was the
God,
typical one?
God. So I signed my lease end of August. And then I did a soft launch at the beginning of November because I really wanted to be open for Small Business Saturday. I was just like, I want to be open for Small Business Saturday. So basically, the bottom floor of my house just became this huge dumping ground for all of the things that I was going to fill the store with. So I knew it was going to be fall, winter. I bought all of those styles, knowing that that is what people were probably going to purchase. And so I just bought a ton of inventory, a ton of merchandise, and I started sorting, tagging, pricing, putting things in. At this point in time, I was learning how to use Shopify. And so I was like, Shopify is going to be what I use for my website and for my POS. So I was like teaching myself a bunch of new things in that point in time from August until November. Um, and because my store space was basically blank, I had a lot of I had a lot of process. I had a lot of thought in the process of like building my store out in like how many fitting rooms I wanted. Like I was very adamant about having one fitting room be bigger than the other because I wanted moms to fit strollers in there, about having two fitting rooms. And so I was able to like take measurements and like really map things out with like how many fixtures, how many tables, like I'm going to put a bookshelf here.
I don't understand. Like this is the part of retail where I'm like, how do people figure this out? Because, just what you said about having a fitting room that fits a stroller and the mom, and then having another one. And then how did you figure out how many fixtures you have needed?
So I like measured the walls and I made this map on this huge piece of cardboard. And I made this map of the store that was to scale of what the store looked like. And then every time I thought about buying something, I made like a little square or a little rectangle and like put it on the wall and was like, okay, here's one. I'm going to need two of these to flank it. And then in the middle, I'm going to put a Billy bookshelf or an IKEA calyx, So I basically made like a little model, like an architect kind of would, and like drew things out and put it in there. Now, once I got in the store and am more familiar with the space and like can tuck things underneath each other, that is kind of when I've like given myself more flexibility and have accumulated a storage room in my building. But basically, when you're like, oh, how did you figure out the stroller thing? Like, I was a mom with a double wide stroller. And so, like, I was walking around with this thing this big. So, when I'm like setting up the sales floor in my store, I'm walking around like this to make sure that like people can get in and around my store and it not be too congested. Because I have people coming in with walkers, I have people coming in wheelchairs, I have people coming in motorized scooters. And so for me, it's like I want them to be able to see, touch, and experience everything just as much. So like I just walk around like an idiot. What do they say? It's like girl math, like girl measuring, you know?
That is amazing. Because I mean, the ADA laws, what, 3.5 feet or something like that. So I'll walk around with a measuring tape, or I'll just do it with my feet, 1, 2, 3. But it's certainly, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a mom. So like the idea of a double wide stroller, like that doesn't even register to me. But that's fantastic for, I mean, just the inclusivity of everyone that's in a wheelchair or a walker or anything like that can walk around. Because there's a hell of a lot of stores that are like, I don't care. Fuck the ADA law. No one's gonna figure it out. We need to figure out one. We need to get one more fixture in. I mean, that is, sadly, is kind of the norm.
Well, I mean, like you've worked in those places, like you've worked in Wet Seal, where it is like so overwhelming because there's so much shit everywhere that it's like I am not that kind of shopper. Like if I need something, I look at that and I get overwhelmed because I get like analysis paralysis. Like I know I need something to wear to work. Where is it in all of this?
Mm.
Right. And so, like, there needs to be some curation and thought into that kind of stuff. I mean, like, even when talking about moms, like, and I tell this story all the time, is one of the first purchases that I bought for my store was this crate and barrel table for little kids to play at. It's just this like little tool table where they can like bang, hammer. Because when I was a busy mom, I shopped exclusively at Carter's for my kids because they had this Lego table that I could plop both of my kids at. They would play with Legos and I would just like grab clothing for their next size. And that made my life so enormously easy to shop for my children that I chose not to go anywhere else.
That's
And so, like, I put that kind of like thoughtfulness into the store, knowing that the customers that I was probably going to attract were going to have wheelchairs, were going to have young kids. Like, one of the other small touches is that I put fans in every single one of my fitting rooms because I'm like, it gets hot. Like, you can't tell me that no one else's tits are sweating when they are trying things on. I'm like, that is uncomfortable. That creates fitting room friction,
Yeah.
right? That will prevent someone from trying something else on. And the fix is a $30 fan.
I love that. That's brilliant. I mean, your philosophy to retail is so different. Like, which I love. And the fact that it's succeeding makes it even better because you've gone a completely non-traditional route, which is amazing. And it's to see it succeed. So if you don't mind me asking, how did you create the capital for it? Because we all know it's not inexpensive to open a store and fixture it and the whole thing.
100%. So I I had maxed out a credit card. Okay. So I had a credit card. I put 20K on a credit card. I had signed my lease. My parents helped me with some of it as well. And then I had also convinced my ex to do a home equity loan. Now, he was not fond of that idea. And so it created friction, which is why I'm a single mom. Um, but it was enough for me to get started to continue to build for the next couple of years. Now, I am still paying off some of that capital to my parents like 5.5 years later. So it's not like I'm scot free. I don't want to give that illusion, but it's definitely something that I'm still continuing to work on. The other thing I think that people don't realize is just like how expensive it is to start a brick and mortar.
It's crazy. I mean, well, you forget the product, just all of the fixturing and the POS system. And I mean, like it's insane. And that's why I always wonder. And I've only asked a few people because I think a lot of their stores have already been in business for so long but you're relatively new. And it was like, I mean, not relatively new, but like when you talk about to somebody that has 6 kids, single mom, like how I always wonder, how do people raise capital? Because, unless you're sitting there and you're lucky enough to have just a shit ton of money or your parents left you a lot, it's kind of like buying a house. Like, how did you raise the capital for that? Like,
100%. And I'm going to say too is I probably started my store on 50. I started my store on 50, but what I tell people is the store that you're looking at now probably costs like 150. I'm like, whenever any like young person is like, what do I need to start a business like yours? I'm like $100,000. I'm like, if you don't have $100,000, I'm like, don't do it. And I think a lot of people are shocked because they think about like, oh, it's just rent. Like people are under, like once I outfit a store, it's just rent. And I'm like, nah, 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 you're so cute. I'm like, commercial internet is more expensive. Commercial phone is more expensive. I'm like, you have triple net, you have employees, you have payroll taxes now, you have subscriptions for loyalty programs, you have web hosting, you have all of those apps, you have the music that you're playing. I'm like, you have so many added fees and subscription costs. You have bookkeepers, you have the person filing your taxes. I'm like, it is so much more money than what you're thinking is just rent.
yeah, I even at the wholesale level, it's always kind of amazing to me when we're opening a new showroom for someone and it's like, okay, what's your budget? Oh, I don't know, 10,000. I'm like, you realize that's not going to go that far because my services and then fixturing, granted, because they're like, oh, the product's coming from us, we manufacture, so we'll send it on. It's like it has to go somewhere, and it's not. it's not like it's some showrooms will have like, it's kind of like a hodgepodge. Oh, we have this, we have that, we can pull together a space. But a lot of times when you're going in, you're creating something just for them, you're starting from scratch. And it's like, it's always shocking to me. Then it starts to go so fast and they're like, well, wait, hold on. Like, where is it all going? It's not that much. So it's going, it's gone. It's like it's always kind of surprising where people are like, well, I thought we were going to have this. I thought we were going to have that. And it's like, well, if the budget was larger, we could have, but I mean, it only goes so far. And I think it's shocking to people. They don't really realize how expensive it is because it is like we opened a huge showroom 4 years ago and they were moving to a brand new space and it was massive and it was basically a white box. And they asked me what they thought it was going to be between labor and props and fixtures and whatnot. I'm like, probably close to 200,000. And they were like, what? And like, that's an estimate. I would like to say it's going to be lower, but you're talking about construction contractors, designers, merchandisers that are coming in as a team, all the props,
Lighting, scent,
all that.
like all of the things.
Those
I
things.
mean, I have to say, so when I was like digesting all of this, like I have to learn how to set up a retail showroom, I visited a butt ton of boutiques. I visited a bunch of different stores like in the mall and like just gathered photos and evidence and being like, okay, like what do I like? What don't I like? And one of the things that I learned is that anthropology has like antique sourcers who sources unique antique furniture just for specific stores. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like looking at all these like retail fixtures that are 10x the cost of a Facebook marketplace dining room table. So like how I outfitted my store on a cheap budget was I went to Facebook marketplace
Great
and
source.
I just like put in filters and was like, any dining room table under $200 within 15 miles. It's like, I picked it up. I was just like, I will make it work. I will make it happen. I'll do like some undercarriage repair. Like I'll refinish it. But I sourced all of my fixtures, the majority of like the tabling and stuff from like Salvation Army, Facebook Marketplace, because I was like, I would rather have a hodgepodge and have it look full than have it be sterile
It's
but empty.
that's really smart. Anthro, little backstory on Anthro is the guy who started Glenn Sank. It's under Urban Outfitters. So Glenn Sank was brought in, and his partner would go to Europe and he would source all the fixtures, and it's all for sale and it's all priced insanely expensive. So if you are going to sell it and tear a whole display down, it's going to be worth it. But that whole I love the look of high low, and even though their antiques are high, but that vintage or found object or found in garage sales, or that's why at Anther we'd always dumpster dive and go out in like the trash days in some of the better neighborhoods. It's amazing what you can find. And it's like I still do that when it comes to sourcing stuff for showrooms because it's like you can't beat it. And it's like if you can paint it, if you can put new knobs on it, if you could figure it out and how to dress it up, it's like the best, and it's the best way to make your money stretch.
Well, and like two is like when I was going into these stores and everything, it's not like all of the racks were exactly the same, right? Like some were metal, some were wood, some were silver, some were brushed. And I'm just like, you really just need like some type of unifying factor, right? So then all the other like mismatch pieces kind of make sense. You know, I also think too that like a smaller boutique like mine, people get it. You know what I mean? Like they're not expecting like an anthropology. You know, it's interesting. I had a customer come in and she's just like, I don't know if you remember me. She's just like, but you bought that table from me off of Facebook Marketplace. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. I love it. It's like mid-century modern. You sold it to me for $20. It's insane. It's made me like 100x the price that you sold it to me. Thank you.
Love that. Yeah, I mean, it's like my husband is like the Facebook market person, king of finding things. I tend to lose patience with that stuff. So Salvation Army is still like one of my favorites. And like a lot of my props and stuff like that for all of our setups, either retail or wholesale, all almost always come from Salvation Army because there's so many like books as risers. That's my favorite because I'm like, I don't know how much you've heard about me, but my whole thing is no plastic risers. Like it makes me insane. And that's an anthro thing. So it's not just me, but I like old books and tearing the covers off them make the best risers. And it's like, yes, you can go to, I think, books by the foot that have beautiful books by the foot that are colored out, that are gorgeous. But for me, it's like, okay, we don't have that kind of budget. It's like Salvation Army. And I go through like an insane person, look at all the colors. If I'm keeping the covers, look at all the covers. If not, I'm tearing them off. But you end up looking like an insane person. Like I've had like two carts going with books and like you're standing in line and it's like this weird, awkward conversation, a bunch around of people buying a bunch of shit. Like it's weird people anyway. And there I am with two carts and they're like, boy, you must like to read a lot. I'm like, yes, because I don't even try and explain. I've tried to explain it before, and it's like, doesn't like why?
They don't care.
Like, yes, I read a lot, and like, oh wow, where are you going to put them on? I'm like, oh my god, get me out of here, please. But
You're like, here's my money, leave me alone.
those are the best places. And I end up sound like the last one we did was I was picking them up for Stonewall Kitchen in our job we did in Atlanta for them. And I happen to go to one of the days where it's like everything is whatever, half off or 5 cents, or I don't even know. But I rolled up and they count everything out. It's two giant carts of books. And she said, can that be like $10? I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my God. I looked even crazier because I was so excited about how inexpensive it was. But that's the way you have to do it. And I think that honestly, that makes stronger retail owners to know that, where to cut costs and where, you can find some great things and dress them up. And like, who the hell knows?
I'm going to say I use the dollar store so often. They
Wow.
have like, they have little metal baskets. They have little wooden crates. Like, are they the best quality? No, but I'm putting a tarot deck on it. I'm putting a shoe on it. Like, it doesn't need to be like this isn't heirloom quality. Okay, this is for looks. And so, like, honestly, I use the dollar store a lot because it's accessible. I can buy 40 of them and put a whole display in it, and it's still within budget because like the reality is like if you're in retail, you need to know how to make your dollar stretch. Like you have to be okay feeling broke to be in retail. And so like having those solutions is a reality. Like when I first outfitted my store, it literally was all thrift store stuff. It was like thrift store trays. It was thrift store like wooden plates. It was tiered trays. All of that stuff was like from Goodwill. Like my garage before I actually moved into my store, I looked like a hoarder. Like it was crazy looking. There was tables and like thrift store shit everywhere, but it made sense in my head. I was like, this is going to make sense. Like trust.
I made a whole entire flower cloud out of 99-cent store flowers. It was,
Yes.
and I mixed it to make the dollar stretchy more. I mixed it with Trader Joe's baby's breath because it dries full, it dries white, and then you start shoving all these like fake flowers in. Swear to God, that was like the best thing. And that thing got pictured so much during the show. It was crazy. It was like, okay, and then it was like, okay, I just want it down. And so great part is you can recycle it. So all those like flowers from that store, like all like became like another display. But it's like being smart like that and understanding how to make your dollar stretch is because you do need those props. You do need that extra, zhuzh, so it's not so plain
Right.
and straight out.
Right.
When you first started, did you always plan on it? When you did the legging line, that was one size, right? Or did they have sizes?
They had sizes and they went up to 3X. And so it was like I was always serving this population of women that was like extra extra small to 3X. And so my customers just varied in sizes. But like I became super passionate about being size inclusive once I started doing boutique research in my area
There's
because
there
every boutique in the Seattle area only went up to XL.
there's no
And I'm an XL. Like I'm a 1X or an XL. And I tried on XLs at these other boutiques. I couldn't even get one tit in. And I'm just like, this is not size inclusive. And like my goal is to even go further than 3X, but like I can't find any wholesalers that are worth a damn
yeah.
because they don't make boutique clothing in above 3X, which is a damn shame because they freaking act like plus size women don't want clothing,
Well,
you
it's
know?
the largest demographic with the smallest representation at retail. And because when I was buying for pharmacy, apparel was our number one department. And we would have people all the time like, do you carry plus sizes? So I was, the girls were like, they keep getting asked for it. So I'm like, let me try and find some. Because I was doing, the pharmacy was all cash and carry, which, depending on what brand it is, some are like this big. And it's like, and that's an XL. And it's like, trying to go find, so I would go out and try and find plus sizes. And there's not a lot at cash and carry, but there's not a lot in general. And trying to go find and I don't know, maybe you've come across this, but maybe you haven't, but at the cash and carry district, there is so much hoochie wear for plus size women. And I don't like, that was the point. That was almost all I was finding. I wasn't, because I wanted to find really pretty dresses that went back to the really pretty dresses in the SML XL sizes. But everything I was finding was like hoochie wear. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why is that? Like, it is one of the biggest demographics that is literally this, like, so not represented at all. Like anywhere you go, there's not. Torrid, I think are they even in business anymore? That was the only one that was really out there.
Well, and it's crazy too, right? Because like the average American size woman is now a size 16. Guess what that is? That's fucking plus size. Like that is a plus size woman. You're saying the average woman is plus size, but she's going to have the hardest time finding clothing. And so for me, like, because I had gone back and forth, like, do I want to be just plus size store or do I want to be plus in women's? And I'm glad that I made the decision to be plus in women's because the other mistake the industry makes is they assume a plus size woman means you're plus size everywhere. And I'm going to tell you, I might have a plus size butt, but I have the flattest tits in the world. Like, I will not be a plus size top. I will be a plus size bottom, but I will be a large, a medium top because I don't have any boobs. And so the fact that a plus size woman in varying shapes can come to my store and be like, you want to know what? I got a big ass, but a flat chest. I can find a bottom and a top in the same store is such a selling point.
Yes.
It's the fact that plus size women aren't plus size everywhere, too. Someone might have chicken legs, but big boobs. Someone might have a big stomach, but not want to show their arms. And so the fact that I carry extra small to 3X underneath one roof means that I can go in with a group of friends and every single person in my group of friends can find something. Because when I was doing boutique research with my friend, she was getting all this cute ass clothing and I was leaving with a greeting card, a pack of earrings, some gum, and I was just like, guess there's nothing here for me. You
Yeah.
know?
It's so not fair, and it's part of the industry that I'll never understand. And one of the things where I was just going to ask you, and of course now this is what happens when you get older, you start to forget shit. It's like, like I had a question, and now everyone who listens to this is used to this. Like it happens at least once a time on the podcast. But for plus size to be able to understand a plus size shopper and understand just what you just said, not everyone in the industry understands either. Like even retail owners don't understand. Like that was news to me. Like I didn't even think about that. So when I was out searching for plus size things, the only things I could find were like big dresses. And it's like, guess what? If you are small on the top and you are bigger on the bottom, that big dress is just going to like swallow you up.
Well, and it's also like proportions too, right? Like everybody assumes that because you're plus size, you want to wear this huge ass tent. And I'm like, no, I still need to know visually where I stop and where I start. So where is my waist in this outfit? It has to be here somewhere because like your eye is making visual markers in your outfit of like where you're stopping and starting, right? And so I would never wear a shirt that freaking long because I'm short waisted. You know what I mean? And so even within the plus size options that I'm finding, there's so many like discrepancies in these products that they're selling that still are not great. Like they're assuming, okay, you're a 3X. Not everybody who's a 3X is 6 feet tall. Why are you giving me pants that have a 34-inch inseam?
Oh my God. It's my inseam. 5'10".
Right, right. But I'm just like, that is not the case for plus size women. Or what they're doing is they're taking clothing that's graded off of an hourglass figure and they are just grading it continually in the hourglass figure without taking into consideration how proportions are changing in a plus size woman. And so like one of the things that I'm like really adamant in my store is that like I spend no money on brands that don't carry women's and plus size. Now it doesn't mean that they have to carry the same style in women's and plus size, but if they don't make clothing for women's and plus, my money does not go to them because I feel like the only control or power that I have as a business owner is where my dollar goes to. And what my customers are saying is they're saying they want brands who devote money into styles and proper fit when it comes to a plus size body. And so I don't buy any brands that don't support that mission in their practices and in their inventory.
Well, this is what's still surprising to me that you don't do any of the apparel shows and you source this online. Because when COVID happened and I was trying to, since it was a pharmacy, they were still open and we were selling so much clothes and gifts. It was insanity. And I wasn't allowed to go to the store. Like they were like, just stay away. Like everyone that worked there must have gotten COVID 3 or 4 times just because people like, I mean, it was everything from people who were masked up to people that were like, fuck this. Like some old man came in a pair of tidy whities with his eyes through the hole. I mean, just fucking crazy. I think about this now and it's like, oh my God, it's so crazy that we live
We
through that.
survived that.
I trying to go online, and this is before Fashion Go, this is before like all the platforms for purchasing, but trying to go online and find things. So I was finding things, and then when I finally made it to the store, it was like, God, the fabric on this is so fucking bad. Or like, I can't believe how small this is, or all the things that I see as a buyer when I do the shows and I can compare them or touch them or feel them. You're not doing that. So how are that's the part is like stunning to me that you're finding brands that are totally behind and support the plus size as well as like the styling, but you're finding them online and not at show.
So what I do is I do like in-house sizing. So like if I get something and I try it on and I'm like, this 3X fits my 1X body, guess what I'm labeling that 3X as? I'm labeling that 3X as a 1X because I don't want to lie to a 3X girl and be like, this is going to fit you. Like my whole job as a retailer is to take the frustration out of shopping. And so that means I'm getting things and I'm trying it on. that when I see something new go into the fitting room, I am following up with that person and asking to see it, asking her opinion, asking for the fit, because I want that feedback. So then when someone else picks that dress up, I can be like, you want to know what? This runs a little small. I'm going to grab you the bigger size too. So
Oh,
that goes into like my practices and my customer service as well.
oh my God, that you're like the dream retailer. Like you are so thoughtful in how you handle the transaction and your customers and sizing and listening to feedback and whatnot. Because I can't tell you how many stores you go into that no one even comes back. I either have two things: people that come back and check way too much, and they're handing you things to the curtain. Try this, try this. And it's like, I just wanted these. I just wanted to try on these. Or you somebody that you can't find them to let you in the fitting room. You finally get put in the fitting room, and this is Nordstrom's, by the way. Go get put in the fitting, and then they disappear, and then you're like, excuse me, hello. And they never check, they never ask, and then when you do come out and say, I like this because of whatever, there's no, hey, try this instead. Like I had that experience this last time in Dallas at the Anthro Free People store, or Free People's store. And the girls were all so good in the fitting room. And that was so different than any experience I've had. And it's a lot like you, where they're like listening to what customers are saying and actually putting it back into the knowledge of the team. So everyone understands this doesn't fit this way, and they'll bring you something else. Like it was eye-opening. And you do that, and I think that that's so incredibly small. I mean, I think all retailers, to be honest, should be doing that, but you're doing that.
It's a balance, right? Like I tell my employees, I'm like, look, if people wanted to be fucking ignored, they'll go to the mall, right? Like if people wanted to be ignored, they go to the mall, but they didn't. They decided to fuck around with downtown Renton parking and come to us. So I call it like a soft sales. So like I tell my girls, I'm just like, it's more important to me that like people are comfortable in our space, that they're exploring products, and that we just have solid product knowledge to be able to support them in whatever it is. Now, I might be that person who's like, hey, try this on, but I follow it up with, if you hate it, cool. You know, like try this on, no pressure. Nobody wants to feel pressured to do something, but if it gets you to open your eyes and to try on something new, I think that that is phenomenal. You know what I mean? Because like the difference is though too is like I'm not serving, I don't have to serve every single woman, right? I'm a brick and mortar. The majority of the women that I serve, it's 80% of my business, are women who walk through my door, right? So I'm serving people in person, mainly with customer service and product knowledge. Now, my website, that is just if you like it, buy it. If you have a question, I'll answer your email, right? I'll answer your email. But like the product knowledge and our experience with the product too also means that like someone who comes in and tries something on and they're like, I'm still wearing skinny jeans. And I'm like, oh, palazzo jeans are in, but I'm going to baby step you from skinny jeans to a boot cut because you're going to be so freaked out going from super skinny to super wide. Like, I need to give you a stepping stone, right? Like, that's a part of customer experience
Yes.
that you need to be able to acknowledge because it's a big decision for them, right?
Yeah.
It's a big mindset shift for them. And
Yeah.
so for me, like that's a big portion of what my job is like not just being like, this is what's in style. Like this is what you should wear. It's like meeting you where you're at and like what your goals are. Like I ask people in the fitting room, like, what are your wardrobing goals? You know? And most of the time they're like, my body is different. And I'm like, cool. Like, tell me about it. Like, what don't you like? What do you need? Where do you work? What's your day like? You know, that all that information gives me options and like what I'm pulling, right? Like if someone is telling me, hey, I'm still a busy mom, I'm like, I'm not pulling her a short dress, you know, like because she's going to be bending over, sitting on the floor in the sandbox. So like all of that guides the options that I'm like bringing her.
You need to write a book. I swear to God. Yeah.
I have to say too, like one of the things that I absolutely love about being a part of a community is like, I wholeheartedly believe that the only way that brick and mortar shops like my own are going to survive is if we have a certain sense of like social entrepreneurship where we like give back to the communities that we serve and it not just be in them buying from me. So like one of the things that I do as like my give back is I accept clothing donations during any business hour that we are open. And I take all of the clothing that people donate and I give it away for free. I have a community closet rack that I hang up people's clothing donations and I put it on the sidewalk. And it is free clothing for anyone. No questions asked. I don't need a proof of income. You can try it on, you can take it, you can give it to anyone you want.
I love
But
that.
like for me, I feel like that is a part of being my own boss, being a part and an establishment in a community that has a need that is going to be what distinguishes my business and makes it last.
Mm.
Because people are steering away from big brands, right? Like people are boycotting Target because of DEA practices. People are boycotting big brands. People hate Amazon. People are against all of that. And I'm like, it's because they're making these choices that don't represent people and the people, meaning people, not just their customers, but people in general and like what their holistic experience is in life that I honestly feel like as a small business, like you have to be a social entrepreneur. You have to serve the people besides just asking for their money. There
Yep.
needs to be a give back. They
Yeah.
need to see it.
100%.
Because like for me, like I've had 6 kids. My body has changed 6 times. I have fluctuated weights and sizes 6 times. I had the luxury of being able to purchase clothing at every single point of those times. And so often, like we view clothing as like I have too much, but it wasn't until I started my brick and mortar where I was like, there is a vast community of people who come into my store and they're like, this is too expensive. And I'm like, how do I serve those people
I love
too?
this. I love you for this. I've always, I don't know if it was Anthony Robbins or somebody had said, I don't care what you do or how much money you have, but giving back is vital to the community and to your business, whether it's money or it's time. Like when I was in California, my pet charity was a rescue called Pug Nation, and I screened T-shirts for them and I sent them to the store. They sold them. They got half of the percentage. I got half the percent, which basically just paid for the T-shirts and the screening because it's important to give back. And it's to think that you're going to move through life and just take, transactional money for business and not give back in any way is not human to me, and especially with everything that's going on and how many people don't have, and people are a paycheck away from being homeless or food, no food on the table, and like all of those things, like whatever it is. I think that it's so incredibly important to give back, and I think that you are doing a phenomenal job of that because I've never heard that, and I think that's amazing. Like it's so easy to do and it's free.
Right. I mean, like for me, it solves so many problems, right? Like the people who are like, I have too much clothing, awesome, I'll take it. The people who are like, I don't have X, Y, and Z, cool, I have it for you. Take it. And like the people who are using this rack, like are devoted comer backers.
Mm.
They like are elderly who are on fixed budgets. They're the high schoolers, the high school next door who like parents are struggling. They're young kids in their 20s who are like just getting on their feet and like are interviewing for jobs. I have like this homeless woman who comes because she helps these like other pregnant homeless women. And she comes every single week and takes a huge bag of clothing to these women that she knows that are like, it's going to be cold in a couple of months. Do you have anything in an extra, extra large? She's going to be due soon. You know, I had a guy who, Renton has a lot of like immigrants. I had a guy who just moved from Somalia and his wife had no clothing. So he took a huge suitcase. Fires. I had two women come who had experienced fires and they lost absolutely everything. And I'm just like, there is no sense in putting in all of this work to have a business and not be able to pour back into the community that allows me to do that, you know?
Yes, I love that. Okay, so now we're going to get down to the dirty part. Not the dirty, down and dirty to your social media that I can't get enough of, and apparently a lot of people can't get enough of. Okay, you're obviously very comfortable on camera, and like one of the things with social media that everyone learned during COVID was, you're either if you don't have an online presence, and guess what, you need to start going live and there's a lot of people that sailed right into that relatively easy. They got over being uncomfortable, and there's a whole lot of people that are no longer in business anymore because they either didn't have an online presence or they were just uncomfortable going live. And it's like, that now is the norm, going live, being the face of the business. And the fact that you're doing this with a sense of humor, with, everything from vibrators to small plastic vaginas. I, I mean, how did you start out being such a voice? And is this always been you? And you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to be me. And just, how did that start?
So, one of the things that I truly believe in is like authenticity. Like, you can't tell me that I slave away all of these like sleepless nights, all of these hours at this store for me to have to show up like a corporate robot. Like, if I was going to do that, I would just go somewhere that offered me a 401k and some motherfucking health insurance. Instead, I'm just like raw dogging life over here. But like, if I'm going to raw dog life, I'm going to do it as me. And so for me, it's like so important to balance authenticity with my job, because if I can't be myself, then there's no point in like all the sacrifices that I'm making. And so for me, like having the vibrators, for me, it's like, it was just this point in my life where I was just like, God, I'm having bad sex. I don't know enough about my body. I haven't had enough time to figure things out. And it's like, I know it should be more enjoyable than this. So then it's like, I went on this like self-exploration where I was just like, I'm going to figure this out. And you want to know what? I'm going to take all the women who are in this spot with me, and they're going to come on this journey and they're going to help me figure it out. And it has been an awesome journey because now I feel like I can be an educator to other women who are perimenopausal, who are dry, who are having bad sex after childbirth, who have maybe some trauma, who have a partner who isn't keen on an idea, and I'm just like gathering all these other women's story, and I'm able to use that too in like this part of educating. When it comes to like social media, I always say like social media is for the girls who like to gab.
Mm-hmm.
If you like to gab and you have no filter, social media is great for you. Like if you and I think that is a part of social media that people like. When you like a creator, it's because they pull you into their world and you feel like they're bestie.
Yeah.
Right? And most of the time, the people who are extroverted, who are talkative, they will survive and thrive in a setting like that because they're like, fuck it, who cares anyways? You know what I mean? Like, a part of social media is that you might get hate, you might get love, but either is great. Okay. A lot of people don't like being hated. I don't give a shit. You
Well,
know what I
that
mean?
was one of the questions, is that how much, because okay, I saw you celebrate 10,000 followers, and then I looked on your site the other day and it's 16 already, and it seems like only like a month and a half. So your growth is like, like I said, like just seeing how many people are following you that I'm friends with. And I'm like, how is everyone finding you? But just like how fast you're growing, obviously you're gonna have haters. And it's like you're talking subjects that people I keep my nickname is Prude because I get all like my mom thinks this is thanks to my mom. So I get all fucking weird and I get all embarrassed. But I love watching because it's you are so, to me, brave and just like putting it out there and like fuck it, like, and just what you just shared right now, it's like not that is like not the norm for a lot of people. But what I love is like how in your face you are about it. This is it, this is the fucking normal thing. We're walking around with the vibrator with the microphone on it today, and that's how we're doing it. And that is amazing to me, and especially me as an intro. I do this, so but I really am an introvert, like for real. But it's amazing to watch from across the way. But I have to wonder the Bible bumpers or whoever, like, if you are getting hate, and what are the comments that you're getting? Because I kind of love hearing those as well.
I mean, here's the thing is when somebody has hate towards like me or my business, right? Like it makes good content. And I hate to say that, but it makes good content because I always have a reason for things, right? Like, and it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to make sense to anyone else in your life. You know, the other day, I was making lighters with my Cricut, and I make lighters that say cunt, whore, slut on them. And my son comes home and he's just like, Jesus Christ, mom. He's like, our bills cannot be that expensive that we have to sell those. And I'm like, I want to let you know these are our best selling products, and this pays your internet and this pays for your haircuts. So be quiet. You know, it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. So one, I kind of like move through life. Like it doesn't have to make sense to me. It makes sense up here to me. Two is like the hateful comments and everything. Like it doesn't bother me. Like for me, it's like an opportunity for like a clap back. So I kind of view it as like a challenge and like a way for me to be like, well, actually, those cheap ass card holders, they are cheap. And that's the reason why I bought them because I was a broke bitch when I started my boutique. And guess what? I still run my boutique like I'm a broke bitch because that is ingrained in me. Like I am a budgeting thrift store whore. You know what I mean? And so for me, like that is just a part of who I am and what my ethos is. And yeah, it's not aesthetically the prettiest thing, but like for me, it makes sense.
And if
The
it's
other thing too is I can make it humorous. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't bother me to make fun of myself. You know, someone else is making fun of me. I can make fun of myself. I can make anything into a joke. And so for me, it's not bothersome whatsoever. You know,
I love the chance to have a clapback. My favorite thing is celebrities reading out tweets about themselves. It's like people are so fucking it just people are so mean. And it's like, what is the point of like, well, one, what is the point of hiding behind this fake profile? And all you do all day is comment shitty things to people that are out there doing life. And I've never understood it, but I love so much when people clap back. And now that people are starting to do green screens with like the comment, somebody like there's some lady, I don't know if you've seen her, but she just all she does is like read off the person's say it was a post about Taylor Swift. I don't like her. And she makes this face and she flashes to the person and it's like the same face, pinched lips, or it is hilarious. And I think the best way to clap back at people, but I know that when you get bigger, I'm not that big yet, so I don't have that much, and I've only had really one clap back, and I found a reason to say something back to them. But I'm not in the realm that you're in the thousands that follow you, and it's like I do know that that just comes with more. And there's like these people that this is their whole life is hiding behind some
Oh,
nameless thing.
yeah, like I'm gonna say though too, like I've been online long enough, right? I've been online long enough to know that it shouldn't affect me, you know? And like when you're talking about like, oh, the Bible thumpers or the super conservative people, like they take one step into my store, see a card that says, congrats on getting your tits lobbed off to celebrate a mastectomy or a gender reassignment. And then they see a wall full of dildos and they're like, this isn't the store for me. And I want those people to leave. Like, because for me, I'm like, I'm never offended when people leave because they're not my target market.
Yeah.
Like I only want the people to come into my store who are going to appreciate the products and the service and the attention to detail and the experiences that I'm trying to provide. And so like when people don't like my store, I'm like, cool, there are going to be other people to replace you. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Like I don't live in a mentality of like scarcity. I'm always like, someone else will come around, and and you don't need as many people as you think you need to have a workable business.
Yeah. Well, I always say like you're not going to please everybody, and that's okay because that those aren't your people. It's like kind of like the name of the podcast. So I can't even tell you how many times like I do not like I speak a lot in public under MC Design Collaboration, and then you'll hear them say she's also she's also the host of the Retail Horror. Like, and it's like this like kind of mummed thing. And I get it. And I've only had one person that I continued to ask her to be on the podcast, and she was very polite and very like, thanks so much. I had surgery. I can't do this, or I'm not feeling well. And she finally, after the sixth or seventh time, was like, look, I'm a huge feminist. And just the word whore is just very offensive to me. I'm like, totally understand that. Totally respect you for saying that. But you know that the word whore is for me, right? Because I've done every single job there is to do, much like a whore, like you've done everybody. So that's how the name came. And it's really for me. But it's somebody had said, because I had toyed back and forth, do we change the name? And I've turned it sometimes for some people that have that, I know, demographic. Just said TRW. But I asked somebody and they're like, no, because that is your tribe. The people that follow you because you drop F-bombs, because your guests are super honest and funny and they drop F-bombs. And quite honestly, because they love the content, that it's not like a regular retail podcast. It's like old white guys. Like most of them are old white guys that just talk fucking numbers. And
Yeah.
they're not sitting in a store. They're not the ones dealing on the everyday. They're not the ones dealing with customers. They're just there. And I can't tell you how many of those people hit me up to be on the podcast. And I'm like, have you listened to it? Like most of them are like agents. It's like, have you listened to it? Do you know you're pitching this to your client? Because looking at your client, pretty sure they're not going to repost it, which we want, and pretty sure it's not their demographic and it's going to fall on deaf ears because it's not fun. And that this whole thing and your
Right.
is fun. And that's what I feel like people want in life.
I mean, I feel like people fixate on like one word though as well too, right? Like being in the plus size industry, people fixate on the word fat. And I'm just like, yo, like the word fat, like nobody complains when you have a fat wallet. Nobody complains when you have a fat pussy. Like it's okay to be fat. Like it's okay. Like people fixate on one thing. You know what I mean? And I feel like that is an individual. That is an individual's like experiences or ideas onto one thing, right? Like look at the bigger picture. Like what's the bigger picture for real?
I love your whole view on everything. It's so like I said before, you're like this breath of fresh air. And now in talking to you and just, just your customer service, just like everything you're talking about is like so far beyond anything that I ever thought I was going to get. It's like, it's such a breath of fresh air. Like I am so grateful. I do have to ask you this. I have two last questions. One
Yeah.
is of obviously the whole craze of Ozempic. And I just saw an article the other day about how the fashion industry is having to kind of think, at least the cash and carry lines are having to rethink how they're sizing because when you're buying clothes in pre-packs, it seems like all the XLs are what are left. Are you finding any of that with all these people that are starting to lose weight or are you finding certain sizes aren't selling because of, this now phenomenon?
My best selling sizes are large, XL, and 1X. So if people are having excess larges, XLs, or 1Xs, I want them. Okay. Because those are the sizes that sell out the quickest for me. It's the small mediums that I can't get rid of. Those are the ones that I am constantly putting on sale.
Mm.
I'm going to say what I do is different. Like, a large XL1X, there is no predetermined size for me, right? Like I can call myself a 1X woman, but I might be a medium depending on the fabric
Mm.
and the style. Like I've noticed that fall and winter styles are just cut bigger, right? Because people are tending to layer. And so I'm sizing 2 or 3 sizes down. And so, like, I'm not noticing Ozempic in the way, like, frustrating for me as a retailer. Where I'm noticing it is the women who are on it who are now struggling with, like, I don't know what to wear because now their body has changed.
Yep.
And they're like, I used to have a fat ass, but now it's a pancake. And I'm like, cool, like we're going to work it. We're going to work it. And I'm going to help you find something that highlights the areas that you like. What I'm noticing with this Ozempic era is that women have new bodies now and they don't know what to do.
Yep.
Right. They're like, or women are seeing all these like changes in fashion and everything that's available, they don't like. A lot of boxy, structured things, low rise jeans. Like I have in the 9 years that I have been in business, I have had one woman ask me for low rise jeans.
Well, I'm so happy those things never come back. I had stores at Fred Siegel during the days of the Frankie B, where it was literally like 1 inch above your pubes. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like the most absurd. And when somebody had said, "Oh yeah, they're coming back," I'm all, "Oh my God, please don't! Like, please don't." I mean, I'm well beyond that age to be able to wear those, but yeah, it's interesting with the Ozempic thing because I went through that, and there's still a body dysmorphia that you still think. I still don't know what size I wear. I still go into a store and I'm like, pulling the bigger sizes. That's what happened to me at Anthro at Free People. I pulled bigger sizes and it was like, okay, these are too big. And the girls were like, thank God for the girls understanding the sizes. Like your team, it's like, okay, those are not going to be the ones for you. This is going to be your size as well as inseam and blah, blah. But it's a phenomenon that I think that the whole industry was not prepared for. And just to see now how it's affecting retail is eye-opening. But as you said, the pancake ass, my husband calls my ass a tortilla.
It's interesting too, is like, I think a lot of people get stuck on, like the clothing. But in some regards, like, I don't feel like I sell clothing. Like, in a lot of ways, I feel like I sell confidence, I sell comfort, and I sell color.
You can,
Like if I had to nail down what I sell in terms of clothing, those are the 3 things. Like anything that looks stuffy and too complicated or itchy or like no way in hell am I ordering it. Because like those are my pillars when it comes to like what I'm purchasing. I don't feel like I'm selling things that are super trendy. You know what I mean? And so when it comes to like what people are making and size packs and things like that, like I'm not experiencing any shortages or anything that is severely affecting like what I'm purchasing and what I'm doing outside of people having new bodies and needing to learn how to like redress them.
Yeah, the confidence thing is huge. And I also think you're selling community, to be honest. Like you have built a beautiful community of women that obviously love you. And I think that that's amazing. The last question I have for you is what piece of advice would you give to a new retailer, both for social media as well as just business in general?
You know, I think I'm just going to go back to like authenticity. You know, like I feel like whoever you are, like there is a group of people who are like you, can relate to you, who will follow you, and who will support you. I honestly, I honestly think that like if you're quiet and you're shy and you're cozy and you're introverted, like you can do social media and figure it out if that is your personality, you know, and those people who are similar will find you. Okay. I honestly think that authenticity is so important when it comes to your business, when you're building it, because it needs to be unique. Like it needs to feel like you, it needs to feel like a different experience than when you're going into a big brand store and when you are under fluorescent lights. It
Yeah.
needs to be different than a larger retailer, you know, and like the story I like to tell is, you know, I was on the fence about selling sex toys. And I went on this date and I was talking to this guy. He was a director at Amazon. Um, and he worked with small businesses with AWS. And on this date, we connected a lot about business. And I was just like, you know, I was thinking about selling sex toys, but it makes me nervous because I don't know if like Renton is ready for this. Like it's still a pretty smallish town, right? And he said to me, he was like, if your store isn't unique, like you deserve to go out of business.
Mm.
And I was like, motherfucker, this is like a first date. Like, this is not how you get a second date. But it was the best piece of advice that I had ever gotten because I was just like, if I don't lean into something that's different and something that's unique and something that's personal to me, I'm going to look and feel like every other retailer out there. And so honestly, it was like the best date in some ways that had like changed the projection of my store. And the example that he used too was like greeting cards. He was like, I go to this store in Green Lake that has snarky, smart ass greeting cards because I'm known in my friend group in giving funny, snarky cards. And I was like, bet, like I have 10x'd my number of SKUs for greeting cards. I have made my own line of greeting cards specifically for the store. Like the majority of our greeting cards are now 80% of like my shower thoughts on paper
Ow.
because I have like I want people to have things that they like relate to. And so any young retailer that is like thinking about doing something, like it is totally true that you should do it scared.
Mm.
Like do it scared, make the like do the risk because at that point in time, like I went on that date and I remember I had $1,000 of sex toys like just sitting in a cart and it had been sitting there for weeks. And I was like kind of scared to bite the bullet because I already felt like pretty strapped for cash. But I went on that date, had that thing. I sat in the parking lot
What
after
was so
that
good?
date, fucking bought them. And now that is the one thing that distinguishes my business from other women's boutique. Like it just, and the fact that again, I have the product knowledge, I have the experience, I've collected other women's stories and the feedback they've given me on products and things that they've gone through to help me be a better business owner. Like I can use all that information now, but like you have to do things scared and you have to make it unique and it has to be like passionately you.
Oh my God, I love you. This was hands down one of my favorite conversations. And I mean, I know everyone who's listening, I'm sure you've been breaking it up into two or three different listens, but thank you so much. Tell everyone about where they can find you in case I don't, because if you don't follow you right now, you are going to have a lot of followers, more followers.
So I am on TikTok and Instagram. It's Esme and Elodie, and it's ESMEANDELODIE. And then that is the name of our website as well, esmeandelodie.com.
I cannot wait for people to discover you, for those who do not know you yet, because you, like I said, are like seriously the biggest joy to be watching on Instagram right now. I have so much fun watching you. So thank you, thank you, thank you for spending time with me today.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Welcome.